Heavenly Father, we praise and thank you for uh, blessing us 2020 abundantly. Uh, we had last week of Sunday worship service. May God give us your words through New Year Bible conference and prepare for 2021. We want to study about the Western philosophy and theology so that we can be wonderful apologists to defend the Christianity. Bless this time. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. So last time we studied about the Ionia philosophers and the Italian philosophers. So today, maybe we can mainly concentrate the early Athenian philosophers. So I want to ask you a few questions. First, what is called the Ionian philosophers? Called what? We called corporal monists, right? Corporal monists. Monists or monism. Corporal means they believe that essence, the main first cause of essence is material, right? So we call the corporal monists. And everything came from material, but one material, like fire, water, and so on. And the Italian philosopher we call, what do you call the Italian philosopher? We call incorporeal monists, right? Like Pythagorean, he believed that spiritual, the main cause is spiritual. But when he talked about the spiritual, he did not talk about the spiritual life like us, but number. He think that number is spiritual. Okay, and today the early Athenian philosophers we call corporal pluralists. As I said, corporal means the first essence is material, right? Material, but not monist, but pluralist, meaning many things, right? Okay. There are 5 philosophers. After this, the Athenian philosophy is completely changed, beginning from Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. So, but this is the beginning of Athenian philosophers. Okay. So first one is we call Empedocles. Okay. All right. Here, Empedocles said that actually he actually almost made Athenian Democrats. So where Democrats' idea coming from in Athens was from Empedocles. Okay, so I wrote here he was a champion or cheerleader for what become Athenian Democrats. You know, it is amazing that the Athens they run by democratic idea. Where this idea came from? because of Empedocles. Okay, all right. He says that there are four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. He didn't say one, but he said four things together. Because his idea is that if there is air, that is not enough. We need water. Because without water, there is no air. So he, made these four elements relate to each other. When we die, we become earth, right? We become earth. We decay and become earth, right? So he said that there are four elements, and these four elements relate to each other. He says there is a fifth essence. He didn't say fifth elements, but he called the fifth essence. The name of fifth essence we'll call quintessence. Okay, and this is really funny. So what is behind these four essence is flux, or the force. We don't know exactly what you were talking about, but he said that there is after four essence, earth, air, fire, water. Behind of that, there is fifth essence. That is maybe a force. And then he said, after he studied for a while, he said light travel at fixed speed. Wow. I don't know how he knows that. We know that light travel at fixed speed, right? If you, you know, in physics, if speed is going light speed, time doesn't changes. Do you know that time doesn't changes? Because it fixed time. So there is a movie, Time Machine, right? They try to make a time machine because they realize that, if you travel at fixed speed, the light speed, there is no time changes. And for example, let's just say two twins, one person living on Earth, the other travel out of space. Okay, the time a second in Earth goes 1 second goes 1 second, right? But time in space goes 1 second. So it doesn't return the little. So in same age, but one who lives on Earth, one lives in outer space. One who lives in outer space, older less, because time goes slower than time on Earth. So I don't know how he knew about it, but he he knew it. So we can say that he is the father of Einstein. Einstein found out that idea too. So anyway, he's a great man. Okay, next one is Athenian philosopher Anaxagoras. Anaxagoras. He said, well, there are many elements. Maybe he said he liked the idea of separate elements, but did not like there is only elements. Few elements. He said there are infinity number of elements. When you study chemistry, there is a chart for elements, right? Do you know how many elements in the chemistry chart? Anyone, can you say? It's about 120 something, right? Okay. So, we know now, but in ancient time, it was not easy to know. But anyway, Anaxagoras says that there is infinite many elements. Okay. Anyway, he one day he was passing by a field. He saw a brown cow eating green grass, but produce white milk. Right? If you the brown color cow eats green grass, he suppose produce green milk, but somehow he produced white milk, right? So he said, how could it happen? So he thought that there must be seeds of white milk in the cow or in the grass. So this one he called spona, seeds, spona, seeds. Anyway, so he made the seed theory. Later, with that idea, he introduced the idea of nous. Nous means the mind. So there must be seed in our mind. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Next one is Democritus. These days, somehow, a lot of philosophers study about him, Democritus, because they found so much material about him. So they study about him. I think if you go to Google or YouTube, you can see Democritus theories so much. I tried to understand one video, the YouTube, but it has so much on it, so I stopped watching. Anyway, we believe that he's the first atomist, atomic theory. He said he does not like an exact motion of infinite numbers of elements. And he knows different shape of particles in atom. Well, we have this atom inside. There is what? Three things are there, right? Neutrons, protons, and electrons, right? Right? I don't think he knows about all those things, but he has the idea that there is particles in elements, particles of elements, which we know now that it will be a deuterium, proton, and electrons, right? Okay. Anyway, he is truly atheist because the whole universe run by mechanically, he said, mechanically run the universe. With that idea, I think Einstein, influenced by Democritus so much, he found, nuclear bomb is found by who is that? Einstein. I think he got the idea from here. He also that universe is moving by mechanically. So Einstein developed string theory. I don't know you understand the string theory. The universe is moving according to string. And if you have chance you can see physics, there is quantum theory and string theory. You can look at it, some videos. There's how universe is moving according to strings. And that idea, Einstein's idea, string theory, came from him, Democritus. Anyway, but when he lived, he lived during Peloponnesian War, meaning that Athens and Sparta began to beat each other. So he said, "What is life? Let's enjoy it. Don't fight, but enjoy it." So later he became very hedonist. Okay. Anyway, we saw so much from beginning from Ionian philosophers and Italian philosophers and the early Athenian philosophers. Each one has their own theory. They cannot, compromise each other. So there was a big problem. So here I wrote that there is no agreement between Ionian and Italian, two great philosophers. They reached the impasse. Impasse means Korean word 골목길. 골목길. So because these two groups never agree each other, so when time came, people really tired of philosophy. So they said they called this reach the impasse. Okay, so like Protagoras says 2 + 2 is 3. 3 is the answer on one day, and another day that's wrong because 2 + 2 is 4, right? And who cares, he said. So philosophical skepticism was born. The true skepticism is sophists and cynics. Okay, so these two philosophies, sophists and cynics, was born because of this so much philosophy, philosophers fighting each other, never agreed each other. So sophist says life is meaningless, and one of them is Protagoras. He said life is meaningless, and he really fought with Socrates and Plato later. So Socrates and Plato really attacked Protagoras so much. There is a cynic philosopher named Diogenes. I put a picture here. He lived in a bathtub. And if you look at the corner, there is dogs, right? Cynic means in Greek, a dog. Okay, why he always carries dog is this. Cynicism is just like there is no truth. They just argue. Whoever says one thing, they attack and says another things. So they call the cynics. So they are like barking dogs. So in the cynic philosophers, they carry always dogs. Okay, one time, second picture, if you see, there is Alexander the Great visited Diogenes, and Alexander said to Diogenes, "Whatever you want, I can give it to you." And do you know what the Diogenes says to Alexander the Great? Anyone? And he said to Alexander the Great, please, away from sun coming. You're blocking sun to me. He didn't ask anything. He said, you're blocking the sunlight. Move away. He's really very cynic. One thing is that cynics were very popular, I think, up to second century, and almost disappeared, the cynicism. Anyway, okay, so the beginning 5 people are Athenian philosophers, early philosophers. But from here, Socrates and Plato and Aristotle are different. They are living in Athens, but they are different ideal people, okay? All right. So I will spend some time in Socrates, okay? As you know that Socrates was executed in 399 BC. He drank poison, right? Do you know why he was condemned to death? Actually, Socrates is a war hero. When there was Persian war between Greece and Persia, he participated 3 times. He even wounded one time, seriously wounded. He was a truly great, we can say, soldier. But he realized that, people are just fighting all the time. He said, can you stop fighting? Can you reason? That was his idea, okay? Because of that, actually, he was, drink poison. Anyway, they call him ancient accusers, okay? All right. So here, if you look at the PowerPoint, between 500 to 480, there was a Persian War, right? Okay. When there is Georgex, the Esther's husband Georgex came to Greece, do you know how many people he brought, how many soldiers he brought? Some people say he brought 1 million people. I don't think there's true numbers, but everybody believe that he brought 500,000 people. 500,000 people are so much, right? And Greek, they united. Greek people are very exclusive. They don't really associate with the other city-state. Athens never talked with Sparta. But somehow in this time, when Persian invaded Greece, they, for the first time, they become one, acted like one nation. They united. And we know that they have less than, they believe that less than 100,000 fought against 500,000 Persians. They won the war. That was great. And so after chasing off the beast empire of Persia, Greece was very popular. And between 480 to 430 BC, they called the Golden Age. They were so rich, especially Athens. Athens, there was like so many city-state, brought so much money on Athens. And so suddenly Athens has so much money, so much gold, okay? So that's why they built the Pantheon in Athens, the Athens, the top of the Athens, right? But once Athens becomes so rich, Sparta got so upset. So there was a war between the Athens and Sparta, and some city-state support Athens, some city-state support Sparta. Basically, Sparta won, but it was not really a not so good war. I mean, it's like killing each other. So during 430 to 404 Peloponnesian Wars, um, it was a really hard war, and people suffer. They are same people, same Greek people, and they killing each other. Anyway, when Sparta won 404 to 400, Spartan people came and ruled Athens for 4 years. After 4 years, they said, "Oh, I cannot rule the mind of Athens," and they left. Okay, so if you look at 404 to 400, rule of 30s, 30s is Spartan. Spartan ruled about 4 years. The imposed oligarch democratic Athens, it didn't work. Athens came to democratic state again. Athens political leaders accused Socrates, and he said Socrates is a sympathizer of the Sparta. And he said he corrupt young people worship other gods. That's the main accuse of Socrates. But main idea of Socrates is why we are fighting. Man, why you're fighting? Can we reason? Can you talk before physical fighting? But in ancient time, they don't believe talking, right? They rather believe muscles and power, right? Anyway, his accuser, Christophanus, wrote a play, The Clouds. Okay, there is one philosopher, Christophanus, wrote a play, The Clouds. In the clouds, people sit down doing nothing but talking. And the main talker was Socrates. They made a play. Anyway, so there was there was coach, and they decide this is court decision. Socrates was viewed as an enemy of the state and undermined the warrior spirit, because he said, why you are fighting? So undermine the warrior spirit and view as the friend of Sparta and demonizing Athenians. So on Athens trials, always, in politics, the court decision is really favor the ruling leaders always. So Athens trial, the court favors the ruling leaders or party violating meaning of justice or what is good. And he was sentenced to death by drinking poison, right? Anyways, in court, Socrates challenged the poetic tradition, but Athens was not prepared to go there yet. So they wound up, executing Socrates, and Socrates become martyrdom. They believe that Socrates is most excellent thinker in human history. and they killed later, people really respect Socrates, and they called him martyrdom, right? Okay, all right. Socrates has two value at stake. Okay, method of education, educated young. Okay, so when he educated young people, he did not educate young people. You have to learn how to think, right? There is he has object of education. What virtues should we be educating young people? What is the standard of virtues? What is good? What is bad? We already talk about ethics, right? In actionology, it says actionology is studying ethics. What is the standard of good, or what is the standard of bad? Okay, and he emphasized that axiology. Okay, what virtues should we be educating young people? Okay, and how should we teach, and to what end should we be teaching? In other words, what direction you are teaching? In UVF, young people, we teach Bible study is important because through Bible education, they can grow to be a leader, spiritual leader, not worldly leader, but spiritual leader. So that in the Bible, it says, Paul, we study the Bible and thoroughly equipped. Thoroughly, in order to thoroughly equipped, we need really education, right? That's a UBF style virtue. That's the end, right? End of teaching, right? What does the education look like if we are educating homos world? Homos world means in ancient times, homos world, uh, they teach us the art of war. How can we survive those things, right? But in time of Socrates is how to reasoning, right? Okay. So Socrates teaches that education focus on the mind, on reason rather than the body, he said. It's different from the time of Homo's world, okay? The nature of education was changed when the virtue are changed. Of course, the nature of education always changes. In Korea, we study music, arts, many things, right? Home economics, and so on. Many things we studied. But in America, why we study music? So you have to, you don't need music. You don't need art. If you like to study, you can study. There is a choice, right? But in Korea, music and art are mandatory, not a choice, right? So nature of education is always changing according to times. But without, we studied even ethics in Korea, but in America, they never teach us ethics. And these days, I heard there is really trouble because of election. I heard the CEO of the Facebook, he spent $5 million to disturb the election against Donald Trump, and he was called court to testify. But anyway, the virtues are changes. So what is the virtues? It is related to power, honor, or glory. We have to think about it, right? Anyway, Socrates really helped others to know reasoning through thinking critically, analyzing words, if these words are conformed with the reality. Important thing is when we think, when we have to help them, people to think, we have to think critically. Okay, when we say critically, there is two sides. Okay, one is criticizing left side, and one is criticizing right side. Right side is right. If we say right things, left side is wrong things, we have to criticize both sides. Okay, and we have to analyze these words together. Anyway, there are three fundamental themes. The meaning of the word. He says very important, meaning of the word. Importance words. He challenges sophists in Athens who like to use the word for their persuasive effect. Okay, as I said, sophist was formed. Sophist philosophy is formed because they saw the Italian and Ionian and Athenian philosophers began to fight, and they never agreed each other. So sophists came, and they really attacked the philosophers, even though they are philosophers. So anyway, when they use the word, they use the words very wrongfully. Let's just say wrongfully. So anyway, Socrates really challenged the sophist to use the right word and the right meaning. Okay, and his main theme is priority of soul over bodies. Body is important, yet our soul is important, and our mind is important. Reasoning is important. So those things he was teaching. And he taught the nature of a true value. What is a good means? He always talk about the good meaning of a good means. Okay. Anyway, so we'll talk about the Plato next time, but when Socrates died 399, Plato, his disciple, he was so disappointed by the political leaders in Athens. So he traveled 10 years. So he went to Ionia area and met the philosophers. And he went through Egypt. I heard that he spent quite a long time in Egypt and went to Italia. And he met Italian philosophers, especially Pythagoras. He spent 2 years with Pythagoras and learned so much. And that after 10 years, he returned to Athens. He found a school, right? So those things we'll talk about the next time. And he developed the idea of heaven and earth. Okay, he didn't say heaven and earth, but those idea, we know that we have a heaven and earth, right? But how can we express? How can we explain about heaven? How can we explain about earth? There is such a idea in biblical views. We know that there is heaven, like Jacob, when he left his house and went to his uncle's place. He was so afraid, and one day he was sleeping. He saw heaven open in dream, and angels are coming down. So there is heaven and earth. But how can we explain heaven and earth? I think Plato developed that idea and gave Christianity how to explain heaven and earth. So that idea came into New Testament. So when New Testament writers, when they describe about heaven and earth, they adopted Plato's idea. I mean, I cannot say adopted, but influenced by Plato and described in heaven and earth. So we'll talk about Plato next time. If you have any questions, you can ask me before Plato. This is a Q&A time. Next 10 minutes. No questions?
네, 질문 없습니다, 저는. 이 질문도 알아야지 한다는 게 이해가 되네요.
예?
옛날에 그러잖아요. 질문도 알아야지 질문하는 거라고.
그래요, 하여튼. 그 넥스트 타임에는 그 소크라티 플라토를 하면은 처음에는 재밌는데 나중에는 너무 이 복잡해서 머리가 아픕니다. 머리가 아프면 재미가 없어. 아이고. 근데 이제 플라토 지나면은 재미가 있습니다. 그러니까 다음 주일에는 좀 보링하는 거를 잘 인디어 하시기를 바랍니다.
시험을 본다고 그러면은 사람들이 아주 정신없이 들 거예요.
정신이 들 건데.
시험을 퀴즈를 본다.
근데 이제 시험을 볼 수 있는 것은 아니니까.
무비 보면요, 300 무비 있잖아요.
예.
그게 이 스토리랑 좀 연관이 있는.
그것이 그 조젝스 얘기거든요. 그 저기 퍼시아 그 워하고 그 퍼시아 워의 셀레미 워인데요. 사실은 그 영어라는 것이 재미로 만들기 때문에 사실에 근거한 것보다 그 스토리해서 만든 것이 많죠. 예를 들어서 영화 글라디에이터라는 영화가 있거든요. 그것이 그 글라디에이터 보셨죠, 영화?
예.
글라디에이터. 그것이 마르코스 아울레리우스라는 황제, 그 로마 황제의 최고 봉을 이룬 사람인데 그 아들, 로마는 대개 자기 아들을 황제로 만들지 않는데 그렇게 유명한 마르코스 아울레리우스라는 황제가 코모도스라는 자기 아들을 황제로 세웠어요. 근데 이제 그 마르코스 아울레리우스가 맥시무스라는 장군을 황제로 세우려고 그랬는데 그 맥시무스는 자기 그 황제 안 하고 자기 고향에 들어가서 와이프하고 그 아들하고 재미있게 살라고 그렇게 하죠. 근데 그 코모도스가 그것을 알고 그 슬레이브로 만들잖아요. 그래서 글라이드 게리가 됐는데 나중에 그 코모도스하고 싸우다가 둘 다 죽는 사건이 났는데 코모도스의 일부분을 따갖고 무비를 만들었어요. 나는 코모도스에 대한 책을 읽었기 때문에 코모도스 스토리를 다 아는데 한 10% 갖고 영화를 다 만든 거야. 근데 사람들 재미난 것은 그 영화를 배경으로 생각을 하지 진짜 책에 써 있는 스토리를 갖고 이렇게 생각을 안 하더라고요. 참 영화라는 것이 참 위험한 것 같아. 그 300 그것도 내가 보기에는 한 10% 그거는 10%도 안 되지. 한 5% 정도의 스토리를 갖고 영화를 만들었어요. 근데 실질적으로 있었던 사건입니다.
음.
우리가 이제 오해가 되는 것이 이제 한 가지는 그 마라단이라는 이야기를 하면은 로마 솔저가 배틀에서 승리 소식을 듣고 뛰어가서 그거는 거짓말입니다. 잘못된 이야기입니다. 그거 잘못된 이야기를 갖다가 어떻게 해서 그런 것을 세상 사람들이 다 믿고 그거를 얘기하는지는 이해를 못해. 그 스토리가 나중에 내가 이거 할 때 말았던 스토리 이야기하겠습니다. 근데 그 스토리가 아닙니다. 근데 사람들은 그렇게 믿고 있어요. 로마가 그 퍼시아하고 전쟁에서 이겼다는 소식을 전하기 위해서 거기서부터 에센까지